Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being part of the first ever season of the Struct Club podcast. This
Yay!
pod is yay! Exactly. That's what we do in class, and
Yeah.
that's what we do here
Yeah.
too. So, yes, as you know, the pod is built for our community, by our community of fitness instructors. And as we do across the platform, it's really about sharing perspective, elevating each other, strengthening each other through sharing stories and expertise, as we do as part of our wolf pack. And today, our conversation is with Christina Müller, one of the original gangster OG Struck Club members, 7 years, I can't believe it. And she brings an amazing wealth of unique experiences and expertise to your classes, Christina. And it's really interesting. Nutrition therapy. You're also an entrepreneur. And on the About page of your company's website, you also highlight she's a mother of 2 beautiful boys and a wife to her best friend and cheerleader. Love, love, love. Christina, welcome to the Struck Club pod.
Yay! Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
So happy to have
I
you here.
think it's really cool because it was very serendipitous how we met. I started teaching spin right at the same time that you launched Struck Club. And I was like literally teaching on note cards. I don't know if this is going to be on video, but I have them I still have them. I'm like flipping through note cards and I'm sure everybody that has a Struck Club app can relate, right? Like we all had the note cards and I was like, this can't be. Like this just cannot be. So I went searching for like, there must be an app and I found your app and you were like just launching. So we got to know each other and kind of like get going at the same time with what we were doing. So I think that's really cool.
That's amazing. I think it's really cool too. Yes, we met in 2019 in person. The first time that we met was at the Idea World Health and Fitness Association convention. It was really poppin' and it was super fun. And yeah, it was just such a joy to meet you. You're so warm and wonderful, and I know that everybody in your class is super lucky to get to experience that too. And I think you've moved since then, right? Like, where are you at now? Where are you
Yeah, I'm
teaching? What are
actually
you
in South
teaching?
Florida. Yeah, I'm in South Florida. I was in San Diego when we met. We came out here during COVID. And I'm in a town called Wellington, which has gotten like a little notoriety nationally lately because Justin Timberlake and Tiger Woods are building like a huge golf resort here. And it's a big polo town. There's a huge international polo community here. But yeah, we're about an hour north of Miami. It's beautiful. It's hot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I actually didn't know about any of that at all. What are you teaching right now? Where are you teaching?
Yeah, so I teach at Crunch Fitness in Wellington. So I've been there since they opened about 5 years ago. And I've really only taught in like big box gyms versus something like a cycle bar or something like that. Soul Cycle. What I do love about big box gyms is that they let me do my own thing. They let me like build my class how I want to build it, play the music I want to play. They let me do like crazy rides if I want to do them. And like as long as the members are happy, they're like, yeah, Christina, go ahead and do whatever. So I really like that about working for bigger gyms like that.
And is it cycle classes or are there other classes?
So I only teach the ride. I taught one other fitness class ever because they really at Crunch encourage you to diversify and teach other formats. And it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It was my personal nightmare. I
Oh
hated it. It was like a
no.
weightlifting class. It was, I hated it. Safety on the bike. I'm safe on the bike in my room. It was like a weightlifting class, and there was like a 15-second transition. You had like 45 seconds to like lift, and then you had a 15-second transition to like switch your weights and then go to another move.
That's very
But like I
fast.
couldn't do it fast enough. So like one move, I had like one weight on the bar and one weight not. So I was like lopsided, and it was horrible. I hated
Oh
it.
my. Oh
I
my.
hated it. It was out of my comfort zone, which is good sometimes, but I'm like, I just teach fitness to teach ride. Like I was not a previous fitness instructor. I only started teaching fitness to teach spin. I don't like to teach other things, so I just teach spin. I just like keep me safe on the bike in the room with my music and the lights low and that's it.
I think a lot of instructors are like that. And I think I can imagine this this lopsided lift. I've never
Yeah.
seen that before, and now I can't get it out of my head, and I really want to see
It
it.
was, it was the worst ever. It was my personal hell.
That, yeah, that I can only just imagine.
Yeah.
But with that, I
Yeah.
mean, I figure it may have something to do with your backstory and your background in wellness.
Yeah. So I took spin for like 10 years just as a rider and just loved it. I've never been like an athlete, but I've always been athletic, if that makes sense. I've never been good at sports, but I've always loved moving my body. I've always loved exercise. I've always loved lifting weights and going to the gym. I love group fitness. I love the community of it. And I got to a point where I started taking people's classes and I started to think like, oh, I would do it this way, or I would play this song, or I wouldn't play that song, or I wouldn't do it that way if it were me teaching. And I was like, shit, I should do this. Like I could do this. And so one day I took all my courage. I wanted to throw up and cry at the same time. And I walked up to the instructor, and she's amazing. Kelly Villanueva. I hope she hears this podcast.
Shout out
She's
to
my
Kelly.
inspiration. Yeah, Kelly, she knows. She knows what an amazing person she is. And I walked up to her and I said, hey, like almost going to cry, like, hey, I've really wanted to teach spin. Like, could you help me? What should I do? And she took me under her wing, and she would come in on her off time and let me practice with her and riff with her and try new things and build my confidence. And without her, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. So definitely, like if you are, I know a lot of people, everybody here is already fitness instructors, but maybe if you see someone in your class that you feel like has that inside of them, like, you know, giving them that space, I hope someday I can pay that forward to somebody in my class. But so I started teaching that way in 2019. I taught for a year. I started teaching like New Year's Day. 2019 was my first class ever. How cool.
That's very memorable.
And then I think in March I got pregnant with my second son. So most of my first year I taught pregnant. And then I taught until I was 38 weeks pregnant.
That's a
Which
long
stressed out my
time.
riders more than it stressed me out.
I
Yeah,
didn't end
I
up
mean, it was a
teaching
week
that
before my
long.
due date. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think I knew.
I don't know how
Congrats,
you ended
yeah.
up. Thank you. I don't know how
Yeah.
you managed. I wasn't able to
A
to
seat
manage
pad, a
doing
seat cover.
Pro
And
tip.
listening to my body and adjusting accordingly, just like we tell our riders to do. My body was changing from week to week. My hips were changing. My pelvic floor was changing. My energy, my endurance was changing. So adjusting accordingly, listening to my body, getting off the bike when I needed to get off the bike and coach from the floor. But yeah, definitely it can be done, but it's not for everybody. Also, my body told me I could do it, and so I did it.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah. And then right when I was coming back from maternity leave, COVID hit and the gym shut down.
The best timing.
So I took about a year off. During that time, I ended up going to school for nutrition therapy. So I struggled with gestational diabetes. With both of my pregnancies, I didn't end up kind of kicking diabetes after my second pregnancy. It stuck with me. And so that took me into nutrition therapy. During COVID, I think we all were kind of reflecting on health and wellness and how we could live a little bit healthier and what we can control and what we can't control. And so I studied during COVID and then went back to teaching spin. About a year later, I've been at Crunch for 5 years and I've been doing nutrition therapy about that long as well.
Wow. So first off, I'm really sorry that you experienced that. We all get tested for gestational diabetes during pregnancy. And what is incredible is you took that experience and you turned it into an opportunity and you went to school for nutrition. Leading up to this conversation, you mentioned in our correspondence together that you use your platform as a fitness instructor to also help people through nutrition therapy.
Yeah. So, what sets nutrition therapy apart from other types of nutrition help is that we're really looking at the body like a holistic system, right? A whole system. What affects the brain, affects the gut, affects the energy, the nervous system. And it's not just looking at food, right? We can eat all the chicken and broccoli in the world, but if we're living a super stressful life, or we're not getting enough sleep, or we're over exercising, then our body's not going to be able to get out of kind of a chronic state of fight or flight and really use those nutrients that we're using. So one of the kind of pillars that I base my nutrition brand on, it's based on 4 pillars: food, sleep, stress, and exercise. And really making sure that all of those are dialed in and learning how they relate to each other to really have the body working correctly. What works for you does not necessarily work for me. And so I try to really bring that into the gym, into Crunch, into my classes, really looking at that 4th pillar of exercise and how we can really dial that in to get us to our goals. What I really try to focus on with my nutrition practice is not weight loss, but really control over how we feel and really focusing on feeling better. I think that it's been drilled into us as women, especially, that skinny equals healthy. And we get so focused on our only goal being to lowering that number on the scale that we forget that there's other things holding us back, like brain fog, like being tired at 2 o'clock every day, like having horrible digestion and not being able to absorb nutrients correctly. Our hair is falling out. Our skin is horrible. But really all we're focusing on is the scale. So I've really set out to change the narrative, change the conversation. And I'm glad that I'm seeing a lot of that in social media and things, of really getting away from this idea of having to lose weight and really changing the idea of trying to gain power, safety, health, energy, time, right? Time, and not having to think about food and trying to think about losing weight and trying to think about how we can do these things. Time back from having to nap every day, right? These things that like really bring us joy, that actually bring us joy, because we've been hijacked and told the wrong story. I really kind of bring that into my spin class, very intentionally. You will never hear things from me in my spin class, like talking about how many calories we've burned.
Thank you.
You'll never, yes, yes. You'll never hear me talk about weight loss or earning food or things like that that are like making your body smaller, right? What you will hear from me in my class is ideas about being more powerful, being stronger, building strength, building control over the bike. How can we have better control over the bike, right? When we stand, when we sit, are we in control? Because that resonates outside the gym, right? If you can find control in here, if you can find control in your body in here, then you can use that resilience outside the gym to know that you can control things, right? And so this idea of not only power in the room, but safety in the room as well. All these things I pull from nutrition therapy, knowing that they affect our health just as much as exercise. These ways that we think about our nutrition.
I love that. And you know what? Yesterday in my inbox, I received an article that showed there's a poll of folks who are now taking GLP-1s. And I've been to a lot of fitness conferences through the years, like the one that we met at. By the way, most of which don't give the mic to fitness instructors like us who are on the floor with clients, and have heard people speak on stage very confidently to the point of, oh, great, now that GLP-1s are here, everybody is going to need to focus on strength. They'll be more motivated to get stronger and lift. What we're seeing in these polls of folks is actually that they go to the gym less. For us as instructors, what do we focus on? How do we empower people to help them come back to class when, they've been programmed maybe through the years that coming to class and working out is about losing weight and getting smaller? And I think you have brought to the table some of the answers.
And when that doesn't work, when the weight doesn't come off, then what? Then we stop? Because, spoiler alert, you have to work out forever. Once you accept that, once you really accept that you just have to work out forever, like next part of your life begins, right? Like we always have to do resistance training. We always have to do cardio, something moving our body, pushing our body to be able to not have bone loss, muscle loss. We start losing 1% of bone and muscle at age 30, 1% a year at age 30, unless we do
Mm-hmm,
something
mm-hmm.
about it, unless we do something proactive. So it's not about, and I tell my riders this all the time, we're not, and I'm sure people have heard this before, we don't work out for our bikini body. We work out for our 80-year-old body, functional independence, so that we can get dressed without help of our loved ones, right? We can get in and out of the shower. We work out because if we're ever in an accident, we recover better. I have a lot of riders in my class that are in their 70s. I have
Mm-hmm.
one rider in particular, he's 72, and he had an accident. He was gardening. He tore his quadricep muscle.
Wow.
And he came back to my class today. Today was his first class back in like months and months and months. And I told the class, he is here because he exercised before. He was able to recover so much quicker and so much more successfully than somebody who doesn't exercise. This is why we exercise, to gain strength, to gain resilience, to be able to bounce back after an injury. I've seen people come back from horrific car accidents faster than anybody thought they would. Surgeries, illnesses coming back faster than anybody thought they would at an age where nobody thought it was possible. But because they built that kind of foundation of resilience, they're able to bounce back.
I'm really glad that you incorporate that. And it's just really empowering. I mean, even for me, when I'm just a student in class, just really
Yeah,
empowering to have these ideas, if they weren't in my universe, enter my universe. And in addition, one of the things that I know about you and your class is you also, separately, just from the coaching and cueing, use music as a therapeutic aspect of class, and the enjoyment of music, being music driven, being music inspired, is a common thread across our entire community at Struct Club.
absolutely.
But I want to talk about your specific take on and your method, if there's a method or a technique or something signature about how you use music to make that class experience different and special.
Absolutely. So one of the modalities or tools that I use my clients to deal with nervous system regulation and bringing down that stress response is music therapy. So it's something that I teach to my clients. It's something I've done workshops on. And it's something that I always try to bring into my spin class as well. I myself have had a very traumatic last year. I lost my father-in-law to Parkinson's last October.
I'm so sorry to
And
hear
if
that.
anybody listening has ever dealt with Parkinson's, it's a horrible way to go. It takes you of your dignity, and it's just awful. And so watching him go through that, and then 3 days after he passed away, my dad was hospitalized with a brain tumor. And then 1 week after that, I was with him in the hospital, helping him prepare for brain surgery. And my husband was hospitalized. They thought he had a heart attack. And so all
Oh,
this happened within about a week, about 10 days, a week to 10 days, all the men in my life like had fallen, right? And I didn't know who to run to. So I'm dealing with all this trauma. I had a ton of trauma. And so I had to really dig into my toolbox that I teach my clients and really put what I had to practice to regulate my system, to keep it calm, to keep my head on straight. I now recognize after going through that, that probably every single person in my room, in my spin class, has gone through trauma, right? Has lost a loved one, has been in a crappy job, has an unsupportive partner, maybe has had some sort of physical, sexual, mental abuse, has some sort of physical ailment, mental illness. We're all dealing with something, right? We all have trauma. We all have something that we're carrying. And I can really viscerally recognize how that affects us physically. I felt the physical effects of all that stress on my body, right? And I can now really channel that into my riders, knowing that I don't need to know their story to know they're going through something. And that this can be a space that is safe. because we don't always have a safe space. We don't always have a space where we feel safe in our bodies, right? That can be a big, scary thing for people to really get into your body, to really feel your legs moving,
Mm-hmm.
to really feel your lungs pumping. That can feel really unsafe for people. And I recognize that. And I want to use my space in my spin room as a safe space, right? We keep the lights low. Do you need to cry? Do you need to yell? Do you need to sing? Do you need to get off your bike and dance? Because that is acceptable in my space. Take up
Love that.
space, get big, right? I tell my riders, get as big as you can. We're not here to shrink. Wave your arms in the air, sing a song, do your jumps as big as you can. Big explosion out of saddle, lower down, big explosion, right? Like take up space. This is the room for that. And I want them to feel that day after day, week after week, so that eventually they feel safe enough to express themselves in that room.
And do you
And
get
so
them a lot,
by
by the way? Do people like jump out? They like jump
I
and
do
dance
sometimes,
around?
people that get really comfortable, they will, if like a song really like talks to them, they will get off the bike and dance. I have a lot of people that sing, they sing really loud, or, you got your woo girl that's always yelling. But you also, like, I recognize people's personalities where that's not for them. That doesn't serve them or
Sure.
their like form of expression. So maybe they're in the back, maybe I can just connect with them, in their way. And when I feel that moment of really connecting with a writer, they're really connecting with the music and what I'm saying, and they're feeling it and they're in their body, it's magical, right? That's what brings us back. Like feeling like we changed the trajectory of somebody's day is really why we're there. So being able to use music therapeutically, intentionally, right, is really what I do. So I have a very intentional way that I structure classes, right? We have a calm warm up. And then I really come out the gate with something big for our first track after our warm up, something that really gets our energy up really high, a big song, and then kind of letting the music take me where it wants to go. So you can absolutely tell what kind of day I'm having by my playlist and spin class, right? The class that I came back with after my father-in-law passed away, after I came back from visiting my dad, after I got back from getting my husband out of the hospital. He did not have a heart attack, by the way. It was
Thank
just
goodness. Thank goodness.
so much stress in his body, right? The physical retaliation of stress hospitalized him, right? So we have to de-stress. So the first class that I taught after I came back, you knew what I was going through. You knew. I started off my warm up with the song Free by Florence and the Machine. And if you know that song or you don't know that song, put it on after this podcast. The first line, you'll get it. You'll get me. So music is a huge part of my life. And so using it proactively, really creating a class that speaks to whatever either I'm going through, or if I know somebody in my class is going through something, I might build a playlist around what they're going through, good or bad. And I really let the music kind of tell me what to do with the class, whatever I'm drawn to that week. I also try to bring in a lot of music from around the world. I make sure that there's one song in every class that's maybe in a different language or from a different country.
Amazing.
And I play all kinds of music. Like, yes, there's pop. Yes, there's EDM. But I play blues. I play funk. I'm really into Afro soul right now.
Amazing. That's so fun.
Yeah, like, so you don't know what I'm going to play. I could go from a rock song to a blues song to what, all over the place, to something like super vibey chill where we just like hold a hill for 2 minutes and just, lights come down, music comes up, we crank the gear and we just hold. And it's a mental game, and talking them through that mental game, connecting them back to their body when you know their mind is going to chaos, when you know their mind's like, I can't do this. Don't think about it's what your mind's telling you to do. Think about your feet. Are you pushing through the pedals? Are you pushing through the bottom of your foot, right? Feel your legs, feel your knees, feel your neck, feel your breath, feel your body. So kind of changing the way that we're talking about exercise, instead of talking about like how high we can get our calories or how high we can get our gear, how powerful can we feel, right? How can
Mm,
you make yourself feel more powerful in this move? Does that mean gearing down so that you can actually hit the beat and really get into it? Maybe that
there you
means
go.
backing
There you
off a
go.
little bit. Maybe that means pushing a little bit more because you're doubting yourself and really trying to pull that out from people. Get rid of the excuses, get rid of the reasons not to, and just really have a powerful moment.
I think it's a really important point that you elevate around music that energizes you and something that brings the emotion out of you, because
Mm-hmm.
there's an authenticity in that in your class experience, and there's an energy that we all have to bring to class when we're up on the mic and on the podium to be able to motivate and get in the right headspace to be a coach, to lead the class, to lead the pack, as we talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when I pick music that I'm really into or really like speaks to what energy I have, it resonates through me. And I think that's why people enjoy my class so much and why I enjoy teaching so much is for me, it's not my main job, right? Nutrition is my main job. For me, spin is my expression. It is my outward expression. It is how I get my wiggles out, right? And so I'm up there not out of obligation, not to earn a paycheck, but just as a moment to express myself, a moment to be able to pick the playlist and play it as loud as I can, and just have a party for 45 minutes every day. And I go into every class like, this is my favorite playlist ever. Let's go, because I really feel that way. Because, like you said, I choose music that speaks to me, not necessarily what I feel like people want to hear.
You got to energize yourself as a coach to be authentically at the peak of your game as a
Yeah,
coach.
especially on those days when you're dealing with stuff in your own life. You have to find a way to dig in and get something from it yourself because we do get a lot from spin, right? It's just as much therapy for me as it is for them. So, kind of being like, how do I feel powerful today and on a day where maybe I don't feel so powerful in the rest of my life?
Yeah, it's really important because inevitably there are going to be those days.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I say a lot to my writers is, what happens outside those doors, you cannot control a lot of it, right? You cannot control what happens to you once you leave this room. But what you can control everything that happens in this room. You can control how hard you push, how long you stay, how high your gear is, whether you're into it or you're not. You control that. And so this is 45 minutes of life where you are in control. And maybe that's really what people need. Maybe they don't need all the calorie burn. Maybe they don't need to hit every cue. Maybe they just need a space where they feel in control and safe.
100%. One of the things similar to, related to that, that has helped me just as a student in class, and that maybe I have also borrowed, is just permission to leave all that stuff at the door. Whatever is happening outside of the room, and it's part of that, right? It's letting go of whatever is outside of the, just like letting stay, no, closing the door, and it stays outside of the room. And so now you have this space. So there are a lot of things that we can do with that space. And it's really amazing and interesting to hear what it is that you do, Coach Christina, in the space and the mindset that you get people into. For me, though, it does help to just have that permission in the first place because we're in an always on society. There's notification everywhere, right? Like,
Absolutely. Yep.
we have to be explicit about the phone policy, right? We have to remind people in
Turn it
every class. It's
off.
like
Turn it off. Yes.
signs everywhere
Shut
because
down.
everybody's coming for our time. Work is 24/7. We're just digital means
Hmm.
always on.
We're accessible at all moments. Yeah.
So on that, any crazy stories from class? One of the things you mentioned, maybe bringing live music into class. I don't know if that's a wild story from class or has brought on
Yeah.
any
I mean,
moments.
yeah. Because trying to think about like wild stories, I feel like I've had like all the ones that people have kind of already experienced, like people's shoelaces getting stuck and things like that, right?
I've actually never had that
You've
happen in
never had
class.
that happen? Oh my gosh,
No,
I
so
carry a pocket knife in my bag because of it, because I've had to cut people. And it's like scary because the more you pedal, the tighter it gets. And by the time you have to stop, like you're so stuck that it's like
oh
cutting off
no.
circulation. You like can't
Oh
get the
no no
shoe out. Like you
no.
have to cut.
The
the
shoelace.
shoelace. Yeah, like while you're teaching, like, okay, now add gear, right? Okay, let me cut this out. All right, everybody stand. All right, are you okay? Right? It's like you're
I've
still
actually
teaching through
never
those moments.
I've never even heard that. I've heard of a lot of just gear that you have in your kit, just your instructor kit, right? Like they're
Just
like a
in
duffel
case. Yeah,
bag
I've
of
got a little
stuff.
pocket knife in there now. Yeah.
What's in your pack? I want to so pocket knife.
Everything. Pocket knife, cough medicine, cold medicine, anything someone could need. Bobby pin, hairpin, extra, obviously, like cords for everything on the equipment in case something's not working.
Adapters.
Yeah, deodorant.
Oh yeah, that's key.
Yeah, always like body wipes, kind of like anything you could need. It's like mom bag, like on the go, you got anything you could possibly need. Like a Allen wrench if somebody's like, I got new shoes 5 minutes before class. Can you help me put them together?
The
Yeah.
fact that you can do that is actually that's an edge.
I stay late, I come early, and I just want everybody to have a good time and have a place where they feel welcome. Every time I have somebody in my class who's it's their first class ever, I always celebrate them after class. This is Amira's first class ever. Everybody say welcome. Everybody in the class says welcome. And I say, you're right where you belong, right with us. You belong in this room.
Thank
And I make sure
you.
that they know, right? You belong here. Everybody belongs here. But yeah, I did want to share about my music, my live music rides. I think that really ties into not only my music therapy, but kind of the craziest class I ever taught. It's my music ride, my first one I ever did, by far the coolest thing I've ever done in my life, besides building a child in my body. But my biggest moment in life. So I've done it twice. The first live music ride, we had three drummers. So they brought all kinds of, yeah, it was really,
Whoa.
so they brought all kinds of percussion instruments. They had like bongos, and they had, triangle and cowbell and all kinds of different drums and percussion instruments. And I sent them the playlist ahead of time, so they could kind of like run through it, and then they played along with it. So we had a lot of like really rhythmic songs that would just really flow well with drums layered on top of it. And it was so fun. And I don't think I was on the bike that entire class. I was just dancing and jumping. You talk about taking up space and getting big in class. I was big that day. I was big, and I felt powerful, and I felt expressive, and it was just a really cool class. And then the second one I did was with a DJ, also very cool. So he layered in a lot of, it was all EDM tracks, right? Dom Dalla, Fisher, things like that. Much more kind of like trance-like than the drum ride, a different vibe, but still very fun. Everybody came early, and we got like all raved out. We had like glow paint on us and
Oh,
glow sticks, and
so
we
fun.
all had glow sticks, and we just partied, and it was just a party. And it's like, exercise is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be an expression. And this was such a cool way to it wasn't music therapy based, but like it was, right? Because it was just getting connected to music, right? The amount of oxytocin that was released in our bodies that day, having not only movement, loud music, friends nearby, right? Community, all those things cause our body to fire oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, all these things just fill us with endorphins. And I definitely felt that at both. I mean, I was literally buzzing, like vibrating for days after those. I was just a really, really amazing experience. So if anybody wants to talk about what that looked like more in depth, feel free to reach out to me, because I want more of that in the world. Absolutely.
I've actually never heard of a percussive live class like that.
Do it.
I
Do
need
it.
to go to one. I need to go
Yeah,
to
and you
one
could do all
though.
kinds of instruments, right? We've talked about like because the musicians that did the first one were like, we loved this, we want to do more. So we've talked about doing like at Christmas time, bringing in violins,
Oh,
or
so
like
fun.
a steel drum band during the summer, or like kind of playing into like the seasons and things with different instruments or different themes, or like a couple different DJs or, some kind of entertainment. Someone sent me a reel on Instagram the other day that was like a Magic Mike spin
Oh,
class,
I've
and it
seen
was like
those.
all these like dancers in the class. I was like, don't tempt me. Is that an official request? Like,
We're
should I
bringing in our
file that under an official
husbands.
request? Yeah.
We're bringing in our husbands.
Yeah.
Those are our volunteers. Come on, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just for fun.
Just
It's
for
exercise
fun.
music therapy. Yeah.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
maybe we won't do that one. Maybe we'll stick with the live instruments, but do a live instrument ride. 10 out of 10 recommend. Fills the soul, fills the soul of the riders and just breaks it up. When you're teaching for 7 years, like you're just like, oh, I got another class. And so it really breaks it up and like can reinvigorate you. And even if that's not something that speaks to you, thinking about like, what do you enjoy, right? What do you like to do in your free time? And how can you bring that into your room as a form of expression? Because, people will really resonate with that.
Yeah, and it's super unique. It's a unique and like incredibly memorable experience. Where else are they going to find something like that? I mean, there are so many of those things that you mentioned that I personally have never experienced across like thousands of classes myself.
It was just an idea I had one day, and I like wrote a friend who was like, what if I like what like listen, hear me out, like picture a spin class but like with musicians, like, and it just kind of went from there. Like, what if I did it? What if I asked my boss if it was okay? What if she said yes? What if I filled the room? What if I made a little extra money on the side from it? What if it was the best thing I ever did in my entire life?
Christina, what am I forgetting to ask you today? Is there anything that you wanted to talk about or cover? I mean, totally
Look at my
optional.
notes. I don't think so. I think we really talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I had some notes of things I wanted to make sure I said, but I think we got everything.
Amazing. You're so prepared.
Yeah.
How about this?
This is how I am. This is how I am for class. This is why I need Struct Club, because never will you ever find me walking into a class being like, what are we going to do today? Like, my brain thrives on like organization, pre-preparedness. Like, I want to know what we're going to do. I want to know like when that beat drops, because when you're teaching music therapy, right? When you're teaching in this like emotional place, I want us flying out of saddle when that beat drops. Like,
What did you do? What did you do to say?
I don't know.
Whoa! Wait, can I?
Flying out of, yeah, it's a thumbs up if it doesn't.
Oh,
See if it does again.
come
So
on.
like when, yeah, come on. Or if you do this, it's balloons. Sometimes it happens when I'm on calls with clients. Oh, there we go. It's confetti. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll be like, sometimes I'll be saying something serious and I'll be like, balloons in the air. And I'm like, I am sorry. I don't know
Don't
how
be
to turn it
sorry.
off.
Don't
I
be
don't know how to turn it
sorry.
off, but maybe it's a good thing, right? We all need a little extra confetti in our life.
I don't have this setting on. I need to. I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna go click around and find this
Yeah.
setting. That was so
Yeah,
cool.
I've tried. Believe me, I've tried. But yeah, I mean, to give like some love to Struck Club, because I have been using it for 7 years because I love it. Like,
Thank
and
you.
so knowing like when that beat is going to drop, I've had people come to me after class and being like, how do you do that? Like, how do you just know what the song is going to do? Like, getting that like build up, build up, build up, build up. And then when the song drops and you just sit down and everybody in the room audibly goes, oh, right? And you're like, okay, guys, let's go again. Here comes the beat. The beat's building. I know in 30 seconds that beat's going to drop, right? And being able to time it exactly, like, not only makes me look more professional and like I've got my shit together, but also really feeds into that like building of energy and building of emotions in the class and really building that power, right? Like choosing songs that are faster or slower, based on what you really want to kind of tap into, but being able to use Struck Club to have so much control over knowing what the song does, knowing the BPMs, knowing how long it is, being able to kind of move it around and pull from other classes and rebuild classes with songs I've used before, right? My 4th of July ride, we're recording this right before 4th of July, so I can pull last year's class and maybe bring in a couple new songs that I just like this year. Being able to do those things has been part of why I'm so good at my job.
Amazing. And
So thank you
so
for creating something so intuitive and like definitely absolutely with an instructor in mind because you're an instructor, so you know what we need and what we don't. Um, and you've really adapted it as the years have gone on and as the technology has grown. And I just really loved, honestly, I really have loved using it. It just, yeah, it makes my job a lot easier, it makes my impact a lot better. Having those cues really built in and really dialed into the second.
well, I'm really glad I'm honored that we get to support you in your practice and your impact and all of these things that you're doing in your class through our work, through our platform. And to everybody's credit, for people who are listening and for people who have tuned in and been members, we built all these changes that you're talking about. That is credit to the community. That is credit to everybody in total sharing what it is that they need, what they like, what they don't like. So, in any event, so if somebody wants to find you and contact you, where do they find
Yeah.
you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Christina for Life Nutrition and on Facebook just under my name, Christina Müller, Muller, like Muller, or under my business page for Life Nutrition.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then if
Perfect.
you want to check out my website, it's forlife-nutrition.com. And if you're looking through it and you have any questions about, kind of setting something up yourself or, any questions like that, feel free to reach out. Any questions
Sweet.
about health or nutrition therapy or music therapy or how to use that in your class or build an event or something like that. I love doing events. So I definitely want to do more of that. That was my New Year's resolution, was to do more events this year. So I'm going to keep working on that.
Amazing. Amazing. Love it. Well, I think that's a perfect note to wrap up on. Thank you, Christina, for being the impact, the inspiration, the leader of your pack. That's all we got for today. It's a wrap. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Thank you.
having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And we're honored to support you. Woohoo! That's
Yay,
it.
we did it.